Welcome everyone to our virtual co-working and write-in edit-in events. I'm Coral Sands, author, and one of your quest guides for today's writing event.
And I'm Ansley Ashe, author and co-quest guide.
To keep myself accountable, I love... And then we have our wonderful guest here we'll introduce in just a second. To keep ourselves accountable, we love virtual write-ins. We get to meet so many wonderful different writers from around the world. And today we're going to be doing sprints with prompts followed by short breaks.
During our short breaks, we will be chatting so you can get to know us.
And we're live on YouTube, but feel free to watch the VOD afterwards so you can pause if you need more time with the prompts while you're click to subscribe so you don't want to miss us going live.
And don't forget to share. We appreciate all the support you've shown us so far. Before we get much further, let's discuss our upcoming events, Coral.
Well, today we have the lovely Melonie Johnson. Then on the 24th, we will have Nikki Green. On the 28th, we have something special scheduled. And then on December 1st, we have our Thank Goodness It's Over party. I post all of our upcoming events on our Facebook group called Writing Quests, as well as our Substack. So if you want to get them emailed directly to you and remind you when the events are, I'll leave a link in the description. So Ansley, what are we doing today?
Well, since it's November means Novel Quest. Novel Quest is a free annual motivational challenge where writers complete a novel writing or editing goal. For example, 50,000 words in 30 days. There are regional, in-person, virtual, and hybrid events, as well as virtual badges to help our participants stay motivated while having fun in the process of achieving their goals. To help, Writing Quest also supplies a Google Sheets tracker where writers can track their individual goals, and those who have opted in can see how others are doing and cheer them on. The link to the tracker is in the description below. And that's the first time all month I've nailed that, so I'm happy.
Yay! And since it is November 21st, we're so excited for you to meet our special guest author, Melonie Johnson.
Hello. I almost jumped right in to introduce myself along with you.
Yes, no problem.
We're so happy to have you there. We're going to interview Melonie with some quick fire questions. As always, Coral is going to be watching the chat. And so if you have any questions for Melonie, please put them in the chat. Coral will signal me and we'll get some questions. Then we're going to our sprint with prompts, followed by a break where we will get to know Melonie a bit better. So Melonie, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Melonie Johnson. Yep, and I write under my real name. And I write contemporary romance, romantic comedies, and also have delved into some paranormal romance romanticities that I'll be writing under a pen name. Actually, Emmeline, which is a anagram of Melody. So Emoline. So my debut series came out in 2019, 3 books in 3 months. St. Martin's Press decided to do kind of like this triple launch situation, so that was pretty wild. And then my most recent romantic comedy, Too Wrong to Be Right, was one of Booklist's best romances of 2023. And right now I am currently working on a new series I'm very excited about because it features older main characters in their 40s. So the series is called MILFs Just Want to Have Fun. Yes, so I'm having a good time with
so much fun.
Yeah.
This is a PG rated channel though, so please keep your comments PG. Not you, our commenters, but you, yes, but especially the people in the chat. Please keep your comments PG. Thank you so much. Okay, so first off, we're asking a lot of people, other than writing, do you have any pets or hobbies?
So I did have a dog, Franny. She was a great big Catahoula. Unfortunately, she passed away about a year or 2 ago. So, but one of my short stories was dedicated to her. It was raising money for an animal shelter. So all the stories, we raised money for the animal shelter, and that story was dedicated to Franny. We do have a hermit crab. a hermit crab named Hermes, very original. We used to have, I think, 4 hermit crabs, but now we're down to 1. So
just the one, just Hermes. Well, the gods survive. That's what that says. Okay, so you talked a little bit about the writing and the genre that you write in, and a little bit about your current project. So tell us, have you done any kind of writing challenges before?
Yeah, so in terms of like the old, the thing that shall not be named, I have done I have done NaNoWriMo. That's kind of how I got started into the idea of writing with the goal of publication. Was about doing NaNoWriMo, and I'm trying to think if I've done any other like writing specific challenges. I did do something called Pizza for Pages, which was something that Angie James, she's a editor and a writing coach, started, I think, in 2022, where it was kind of based off that old idea where you could, like, when you read books for Pizza Hut, you get pizza. So she did the thing where if you set writing goals and achieved them, then you got like pizza stickers and things like that. So it was the same kind of idea. So I did that. So yeah, Pizza for Pages. So
sounded like she needed a sponsor that had like a pizza shop. Maybe they can give you 10% off a pizza if you got your goal or something. That would have been yummy.
Yeah, okay. I was kind of like, if you had to like reward yourself with your own pizza, she wasn't going to cover that for you.
Okay, so we're about 3/4 of the way through the month. Do you have, or 2/3 of the way through the month, do you have any advice for people who are maybe trying this challenge, trying to stick it out?
So if you're trying to stick it out, there is an expression called that if you're a big chunk writer or a small chunk writer. A big chunk writer is someone who needs a lot of time to sit down and get words out, and a small chunk writer is someone who can like work in little spurts. I tend to be a big chunk writer. I like to have a nice big chunk of time to sit and work. That's not always going to happen in life, especially, things are busy and we're constantly doing stuff. And so you're not going to have like this perfect time to just sit and write. You're going to try and squeeze it in. So allowing yourself, like knowing, okay, I'm only going to have 20 minutes before I have to leave to go to this appointment, or before I have to start dinner, or I have 20 minutes while dinner's cooking, and use that time to write. I know all too often, if I only have 20 minutes, I'll waste it on social media when I could actually get 20 more minutes of writing in. So I would say kind of be brutal with your time as we're getting down to the last 10 days of November or 9 days of November, and just be like, nope, I'm not going on social media. I'm going to open up my manuscript. And the other thing that really works for me is morning pages, is just spending about an hour in the morning free writing, and not, and allowing myself to just write and not edit myself, because I will get stuck in editing purgatory so quickly. So.
Yeah, so that's some really good advice, especially about like knowing whether you're a big chunk or a small chunk writer. I tend to be very, personally, like the audience cares, but I tend to be a big chunk writer. I like to write in 2-hour blocks of time, but I can't do that in the mornings. I only write that in the afternoons. It's like somewhere around 2 p.m. my creative brain wakes up and it's ready to write, and it wants that 2-hour block, and that's what makes it happy. But I have successfully done the little chunks before, so like it's a good thing. You don't have to stay stuck, so that's a really good thing. Okay, so about your writing process, do you consider yourself a plotter, a pantser, or somewhere in between?
I am very much a pantser. I am very much I get this idea, I see it, and I go. Having now being an author who, when I write under contract, sometimes can't really do that as much. So you get that planter, that in between, where I give myself like an overview of the story, a basic outline. And I kind of like to outline, I mentally set myself up for estimating about 30 chapters in a book. And so I try to like plot like, okay, over the course of these 30 chapters, here's kind of like where things will have to happen. And then the chapters themselves are pantsed.
Okay,
But somehow
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you say 30 chapters. Approximately how many words, go into one of your books? Like what's the word range?
So and this will change, but it's been pretty consistent. So I write my full length novels. So I aim for around 3,000 words per chapter. You're looking at a 90,000 word book. Like that's pretty. And then so that kind of target. And I tend to write long, so I often will have to pull it back a little bit, or if I'm a couple of chapters over. So I think my last 2 romantic comedies clocked in closer to 100,000 words, and they were like 32 chapters. So it actually, like, target wise, 3,000 words is pretty much on target. And I'm trying, actually, with my new series, I'm forcing myself to write shorter chapters, because everyone's like, people like to read shorter chapters and da da da. So I'm like, okay, I'll try to make the chapters a little shorter and grab those short attention spans.
Coral, do we have a question from our audience? I love when this happens.
We do. JPB asks, how detailed are your outlines?
Oh, that's a great question. So when I first start them, they are incredibly basic. So when I start a story, I usually have the meeting of, like, the main characters. I kind of see that in my head. And then I almost always also know the ending. I can see that opening and I can see that closing. So I have those 2 pieces. And then the rest is kind of like, like the underpants gnomes from South Park. So it's like you have, collect underpants, and then and then the profit, but in the middle part. So the middle part, I am definitely the part that I struggle with is that messy middle. That's where I will rely on my outline more, and I will actually put more structure into my outline is that, like, central section of the book. So when we're getting into kind of like the, right around the climax, we all kind of know what's the high point, but like how we get to that falling action and all of those, like, those different pieces, I'll spend a little bit more time trying to, like, lay down those tracks. So my train doesn't go off the rails.
That makes a lot of sense. I also think maybe romance lends itself a little bit more to pantsing or planting than maybe, like, I write mystery. I think mystery, like, the structure is really needed in mystery. But I think romance is kind of a little bit more free, because I feel like when I'm reading romance, I want to see that relationship develop kind of organically. And so I feel like I hope the writers that I like to read haven't planned that. Like, I hope, like, they just sat down and they were like, these are 2 interesting characters and let's see what happens. And then boom, a year later I get a book, like, yeah, I hope that's what happens.
I think that there's definitely romance writers who plot everything and who have that kind of really detailed plotting. And I think in genre fiction, I understand with mystery, there are kind of like more pieces that you have to make sure are in place. But I think that there's definitely room for mystery writers to also be organic and to be planters. I teach a workshop about meet cutes, which is kind of like one of the main pieces of the romance storyline is the meet cute. And one of the things I talk about when I teach this workshop is, even if you're here and you don't write romance, this workshop can work for you if you're writing genre fiction, because all genre fiction has similar patterns. And so if you're writing romance, you have the meet cute. If you're writing mystery, you have the meet corpse. If you're writing a heist book,
meet crime
you
scene.
have the meet con. Huh?
Yeah, or the meet crime, right?
Yeah, well,
meet crime.
The meat corpse, you find, because the body or whatever. Okay. Meat crime that works. Yeah. If you're writing horror, you have the meat creep. You're the monster. So all of them have kind of this inciting incident, that you then will, and how that plays into the story moving forward. So yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. And my outlines, I am a little bit more plant-sery. I think there were just there's certain things that I know I have to have in there. I had to add a lot more structure to my outlines when I switched to mystery fiction, but in some ways, mystery solved the messy middle, right? Because like crime follows a certain pattern, right? So it's like you have a smaller crime, your next biggest crime, your whatever that comes there, right? And so you don't always have to tell a mystery story in order. So like if the body is the third crime, but you meet the body beforehand, you're going to go through like those first couple of crimes, maybe. So I did find that true. That is, but yeah, I just basically have scene names, and then I decide what's in the scene, or I read what the scene name is, and then I write it. So
yeah, I will often, like I talked about the 30 chapter plan, I will often just like have 1 or 2 sentences like about what happens in that chapter, and then I'll come back to it and flesh it out, maybe flesh it out a little bit more, maybe a lot more, but and then keep kind of, I'm not someone who writes linear, so in that sense I hop around. I don't write from start to finish. I will hop back and forth constantly throughout the course of the story, which is good and bad.
Everybody has their own process. It's interesting.
I really do like to write my synopsis before the book is finished, because it is so much easier to write that synopsis before the book is done, because once the book is done, you feel like you have to include so many details, and you feel like you have to have all these different parts of the story that really aren't necessary. And if you write that synopsis early on, that kind of can almost function as your outline. And then it's done. Okay. And then that piece of the thing that you have to do is done.
Yes. Yes. That's actually a great tip. Somebody gave that to me, I guess, 10 years ago. It really helps. It really, honestly, like if you're a first time writer, next time through, do your synopsis before you start, or even in the middle of the story, but do your synopsis, those shorter synopsises first. And it'll really help you kind of like firm up your ideas, but it doesn't like trap you in either. So yeah, it's a great piece of advice, actually.
Change it later. You can always change the synopsis later, but it really helps to kind of like, you just have that like kind of like string bean, just the basics, the core of your story. Yeah,
from your head to your page, and that's it. Okay. Where is your favorite place to write? Like we've talked about all of these technical things, but your physical space, where's your favorite place to write?
I most commonly write in my Star Wars room, which I'm not in right now. I have an entire room that is wall-to-wall Star Wars stuff everywhere, and I have like a reclining massage chair in there. So I get in my little massage chair that reclines a little bit, and I have my little lap desk and my Bluetooth headphones, and I like block out the world and get stuff
every
done.
I feel like every time we ask a writer that question, every week I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my favorite answer to this question ever. So like, that is a great answer, though. I love the answer.
The Star Wars Christmas tree will be going up there in there soon, which makes it like extra cozy to write in there. But also, coffee shops are really productive places for me. I don't know if it's because like you're trapped and so you have to focus and work, and just having kind of like that quiet buzz of other people around you. But I do like to get out and just change of scene, right in a coffee shop when I can.
That sounds like so much fun. Okay. Are you a snacker when you write? And if you are, what's your favorite snack?
Well, when I'm like really drilled down and working, I'm not a snacker. I'm a caffeine addict. Like I'm drinking coffee and there's this, it's not good for you, but it's called Bang. It's got a lot of caffeine. There's the sugar-free cherry vanilla one that tastes kind of like Dr. Pepper. That when I'm on deadline, my husband knows I'm on deadline because cans of Bang start appearing in the refrigerator. But when I'm struggling and and I'm having a hard time with the manuscript, that's when I start to be a snacker. And I think it's stress eating. And I tend to like chewy stuff. So gummy worms, gummy bears, all that stuff. Like to the point where one of the books, I had such a hard time finishing it. I ate so many gummy bears. It was not good. Like, it was not healthy.
We promise not to tell your doctor, okay? We're not telling your doctor. We're not telling your dentist.
Myself. I am not allowed. You are not allowed to buy gummy bears anymore. You can't do it. Like,
I love how, but this actually does tend to be a trend. Coral and I, like, after a couple of years of this, we'll have to write a book about like all of the snacks that we have recommendations for. But nobody shows up and says carrots, just so you know. Like, nobody says carrots, nobody says apples, nobody says celery. They all say things like chocolate and popcorn and gummy worms and like. And I do think that there's something. It's either salty and crunchy, probably for the texture, and probably for the salt. Or it's something really, really sweet. And I think the brain just really craves sweets because it, like, I personally feel like I'm using brain energy, and I want something sweet, you know, when I'm writing or right after I'm writing, because my brain is like, I need that energy replenished. So I think that's why we get a lot of sweets. That's my theory. We need a PhD. Like, if you are, come contact us. So we'll take our survey data and we'll see. Maybe we can get a theory going here. Okay. So you said you're published by St. Martin's Press, which makes you traditionally published. So what was that process like, getting traditionally published? Why did you decide traditional publishing? And how did you get the guts to like send it out to agents?
Yeah, so when I first started this process, so I signed with my agent in 2016, and then we went out on sub the end of that year, I think. Yeah, it was it was actually the beginning of 2017 we went out. I was pretty lucky because we sold by summer. I had the book deal, so that was exciting. Even in that time, publishing has changed so much. Like, it's kind of wild to think about how much has changed just from the time that I had that first contract to how publishing looks right now. So yeah, I've had 5 books out with St. Martin's Press, and I have. My goal was always to be hybrid. I want to do traditional and indie publishing because I kind of want some more control, and there's a lot of things you can't control in the traditional space. And so I've been in multiple anthologies, which is kind of how I was learning the ropes of self-publishing, was through the anthologies, because people who are much smarter than me about this stuff were on the team, and so I could kind of watch how they did things and kind of learn some things. And so that's why with the launching of the MILF series, I kind of felt ready to like do this series on my own. And then my agent is currently waiting for me to get back to her with some other stuff that we're going to go on sub with. But it's just been kind of like, she's been great about knowing that I wanted to also indie pub, so she hasn't been like, no, you can't do that. She's aware that I, and honestly, like, it doesn't hurt her, because if she'll sell the foreign rights for me then. But as far as the other that one, so with my agent, if you're in the process of querying agents, the one thing I recommend is don't put all your eggs in one basket. So kind of make your list of all of your dream agents and spread them out so you don't query them all at once. Because if you do it in tiers, then you can kind of like take the feedback from the first round, apply it to the next round. My experience was a little bit wild because the agent I signed with was in that first round of submissions that I sent out. It just was a kind of one of those weird kismet moments that it just all kind of clicked, and even the whole process of how it happened is kind of wild, because my agent, she sent me an email about wanting to set up a call. So if you're an author, oh my gosh, it's the call. She's going to call and she's going to offer representation. I can't believe it's happening. So the call happens and we're talking, and then she says to me, oh yeah, so I asked you to set up a call with me before I finished the manuscript. And I'm like, okay. And then she's like, and now once I finished it, I realized, there's some things in here that I feel like need work. So if you've heard of this term before, it's called a revise and resubmit. It's where they want you to work on some things and change it, and then they'll reconsider it again. So this conversation had gone from what I thought was going to be the call to a revise and resubmit discussion, which is not terrible. It just wasn't what I was expecting. And then my agent, of course, so she kind of told me the things she felt the book needed work on. And, and she's like, so what do you think? How about that? And I said, well, I hear what you're saying. I think I can definitely work on those things. But to be honest, I thought this was a different call. Like, I was honest. I just told her, I thought you were calling to offer representation. And she started hemming and hawing, like, out loud, like, you know what? Yes, I do. And so she ended up offering representation right there in the call. And I was like, okay, I don't want to force you into something you don't want. And she's like, no, I think I'm excited about this book. I feel confident you can make these changes. She really liked when we were talking about some stuff about the characters. She liked how I kind of accepted her critique, but also stood up for things that I believed in. And then, of course, I had to go back and say, okay, well, I appreciate the offer, but I have to take 2 weeks to consider.
Yeah.
Which, again, because that's just how it works. You have to go through and you have to talk to the other agents you were considering. But I felt like such a weenie because, of course, I'm saying, oh, I thought you were going to offer me a rep. And then she says, yes. And then I'm like, oh, but wait, now we have to wait 2 weeks. But it all worked out fine. And so I really like her a lot. And she's great. It's just, and she's been very patient with me because I've had a really hard time dealing with family stuff for the past year with a really sick mom and a daughter who's got some things going on. So the writing hasn't been happening. So she's like, when are we sending something new out? When are we going on sub? And I'm like, soon. And then I have to be like, well, maybe not quite so soon. And she's, she's got plenty of other clients, she's not waiting on me, but she's also not making me feel like, forget it. Like when I'm ready, she's there. So that's good.
Oh, that is really good.
So I guess the moral is just be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, what a great story. And just so you know, Ansley did lose internet, but we'll continue the interview until she gets back. So I guess the biggest thing that I'm wondering is, how long have you been writing?
Okay, so we were talking about when we first started, have I ever done any writing sprints? And so the first time I wanted to, I was an English and theater major, so I always was into books, into reading, into writing, but I didn't really think about writing in terms of being an author. I was a high school English teacher. And so all teaching grammar, teaching all those kinds of things. It wasn't until after my second daughter was born and I was in a mom's group where we were all hanging out with our babies that we were all just kind of starved for mental activity. And so we decided to try NaNoWriMo. And that was in 2009. Yes, it was the year after my youngest was born. So 2009, me and a couple other moms tried out NaNoWriMo, and I won that year. I got over 50,000 words of a historical romance that will never see the light of day. Time travel, time slip story. But yeah, having done that, I was like, oh, I can do this. I like this, and so I from that point, I started thinking more about writing, and I did Nano once or twice more, but I was never as good about finishing as that first year. And but yeah, so I actually it was I through I also was a theater teacher, and then through the classes I was teaching in theater, I met a woman who was part of a writing group, and we started talking, and she invited me to the writing group. And I kept saying, no, I'll think about it. I don't know. But because we saw each other like every week at this class I was teaching, she kept asking. And so she finally won me over, and I joined this group, Chicago North Romance Writers. It's now, it's still around. You don't have to be a romance writer to be a part of it, but that's kind of like the focus. And most of the meetings are virtual now. But it was through that group that I really, really found like all of the different pieces that led to, my publishing career, how to query, connecting with other authors, connecting with people on, writing how the synopsis, all that kind of stuff. So that was really the big thing. So I think the idea of writing with the mind to publish probably came around 2012, because that's when I started entering writing contests and winning them, and then feeling like, maybe I could do this. Like I could make this happen. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. What would you say is like the biggest thing that you struggled with as a writer?
Finishing the damn book. Sorry, I can't say, we'll keep it family friendly. Finishing the book. Like that is 100% without question my biggest struggle to this day still is getting from start to finish a complete project. I am horrible about chasing the shiny new idea. So I will constantly, I have so many ideas for books, but it's like, yes, you can write those after you finish this one. So I've gotten better about keeping a file of all the ideas, and when something new pops up, I'll put it in that file. So I'm not losing it. I'm keeping it. I'm an idea hoarder. But the thing is, like a lot of those ideas, like parts of those stories will float to me. And so it's nice to have that file to plug in those ideas, like scenes for that story, or I'll hear a song, or there'll be a conversation, or I'll see something in the news that applies to one of the dozen stories I've got, in the background, and I'll like kind of plug those pieces in. But yeah, trying to do a better job of staying on task with the book that needs to be finished. That's my hardest thing.
Oh yeah, okay. For sure. And welcome back, Ansley.
Yeah, you can tell we're definitely live streaming. Ansley's internet was like, peace out. So like we had to reset. So I'm so sorry, guys. But we're actually live and we're not faking it. Because otherwise we would just edit that out. Okay.
We do have one more question from the chat, and that is, what do you think about open-ended endings?
Open-ended endings. So are we talking about because some people will write a series where, are you talking about a cliffhanger, or are we talking about it's not, if we're talking about romance specifically and open-ended in the sense that it's not clear who the person is going to end up with, then absolutely not. No. Not for me.
Or is it more like, but I guess the most famous one would be, the book that immediately comes to mind very famously is Gone with the Wind, right? Which just ends and you have no idea why did it end there, how did it end there, what does Scarlett do tomorrow, Rhett's left, that I think is a very open-ended, but I guess in romance you can't do that. I mean there is so much discussion about this, but I take the very hard line of a romance by definition ends in an HEA or an HFN, happily ever after or happily for now, that we are clear that the person has chosen their person or persons, however many that may involve, and that is if you don't have that, then you have a love story with romance in it. It's not a romance. It's different. They're two different things. I think mystery fiction kind of falls into that too. Like if you don't have a denouement, if you don't have the thing where they explain like how the detective knows what happens, it like you have to, and it's a little bit more open-ended because like I think in mystery, you know, it's a little bit more, modern audiences are a little bit more sophisticated. They know that evidence can be interpreted. It's not like the answer, but you have to walk through that logic. Like if you don't, it's not a mystery. And I can totally understand that it's not a romance, right? Like it's women's fiction, or it's contemporary fiction, or, you know, it's hybrid fiction, or it's, you know,
right. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's just not a romance, and it's okay. Like it's okay to be like, but people are like, no, I'm breaking the rules. Like I'm being special. It's no, you're writing something else, and it's okay. Like, you know, but they also want that romance. Romance is the biggest selling genre in the business. Like the joke is always we keep the lights on, so to speak. You know, I mean, it's just. I mean, I don't know. I think cozy mystery is creeping up, though.
Yes,
I think there's a lot of cozy mystery readers out there.
I'm a puzzle. I like cozy mysteries, but I'm more of a puzzle mystery reader myself. And I think we've kind of shoehorned most of the puzzles into cozy, and I love cozy as a genre, but it's not as encompassing, and I like the mental thrill of the puzzle, so I write mostly puzzles, which makes me a little bit of an interesting duck. And Coral writes mostly fantasy, right?
Okay.
Paranormal fiction and also some contemporary romance as well. And so, yeah, I dabble in a little of both.
Coral's our resident dabbler.
Yes.
Okay. All right. How do you work, life, the holiday season all together? Any advice for those of us out here, just normal people?
About trying to write during the holidays? Yeah?
Yes, because
Okay.
like Thanksgiving
Work-life
is
balance.
Yeah, and work-life balance in general.
I'm not probably the best person to give advice on this. However, one, the thing I talked about before, embrace your short chunk like writing. You need to like allow yourself to accept that sometimes you're just going to have to embrace these short little sprints of time. These kind of communities like this one, like Writing Quests, I think are a huge help if you have that kind of, like I have multiple groups, like group chats, whether it's a Facebook Messenger group or a Google Meetup chat, like those that I will like have people that I'll be like, okay, we're going to meet at 10 a.m. to sprint. You know, like I have like these different groups of friends that will kind of help keep me on task. And I keep them on task. So even during these busy seasons, it helps to have those. And like, yeah, maybe you don't meet all the time, but 1 or 2 times a week is better than no times a week. So using those different pieces as a way to keep the writing going and be easier on yourself, because if you're like me, I tend to be all or nothing. So if I fail at a goal that I'd set, then I just stop. And that's not helpful. So okay, so I didn't get like X amount of words done this week, or I didn't actually sit down and write for X amount of hours this week. Okay, well, we're just gonna have to start again. Like we're just gonna have, like, we're not gonna give up. We're not gonna throw it away and start over next month. No. We're going to start again tomorrow. Like, you know, we're gonna not, you know, because sometimes you just want to start the clean slate or something, but then you keep going back to zero.
Absolutely. Like that, giving yourself grace, I think, too, to know like the holidays are coming up, but you know what, I can do maybe 20 minutes here, but you know, maybe I didn't get any today, but that's okay. I will get some in tomorrow.
Right. And it's like finding that balance between giving yourself grace and also kicking yourself in the butt. So that's when having the friends help, you know, to like kind of call you out and to be like, I know, I get it, it's hard right now, but you know, we can do this. We can do an hour, or we can do 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about some different technical aspects, but is there a particular craft book that you would recommend? or
oh my goodness.
or website or anything
so
like that?
If you're writing romance specifically, I definitely recommend, oh gosh, now I'm going to have to like try and so goal motivate, I'm going to, Romancing the Plot, I think is called. Yes, I think it's
Romancing the Beat,
Plot.
or
is it Romancing the Beat? That could be Romancing the Beat, yes. Save the Cat is another one. I'm sure everyone's heard of that. Save the Cat is a great one. Just kind of, as soon as you said beat, that's so let's see. Is it Romance? Yep, that's it. Romancing the Beat by Gwen Hayes. Yep, that's the one. Yep.
Yeah,
that's a good
I love
one.
that one. I have that one. It's so good.
Yeah, and then also Save the Cat is really useful. I thought that was useful when I was first starting to write. I know it's meant for screenwriters, but just the way that he explains things, the way that he breaks things down, I think was very easy to digest and to apply to my own writing. So that was a really good one. Yeah, so those two for sure. Yeah.
And kind of in the same genre, do you follow anyone interesting on social media, or if you wanted to like talk about your own social media, where people can find you?
I've really been trying to like do less social media because it's such a time suck and it can be really depressing and it can be distracting. But no, so let's see. So social media, Fated Mates is a podcast that does a great job kind of discussing the genre of romance and not just the books themselves, but the whole business of publishing and those kind of things, and it tackles a lot of different topics. So I recommend Fated Mates, and every year they do they pick like some books of the year that they really like, and so they're very supportive of authors. It's run by a romance author and an editor/reviewer. So yeah, Fated Mates is a good one. I'm trying to think of like following. I'm trying to, just someone who offers like good advice for writing, and there is one, Delilah, is that her name? Again, like kind of coming off the cusp like that, but like someone who when I see their tweets, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that like viewpoint. I think Delilah Dawson, I think is her name, and I think she offers some good, useful information when it comes to writing. And she's someone who's talked about like the capturing all those different pieces of characters or dialogue or whatever, and keeping it in a notebook, because you will come back to it and you will use it at some point. So those are my recs, I guess.
Awesome. So I guess Ansley's having problems with her internet, so we'll
just you and me. Sorry.
Yeah, just you and me now. It's been a chaotic day, so we'll take it. Do you have any advice for a first-time writer?
First-time writer in the terms of like first-time attempting to write a book? Or first time trying to get published?
I would say like if somebody's just starting out and they don't know what to do, they have a story in their head and they're trying to figure out what is this writing thing. What would be your advice to a first time writer?
Just get it out. Just that's why things like this, like writing quests, like 1 month, as many words as you can get out in as possible. Like I think that's the best way to do it, because it's so easy to tell yourself no. It's so easy to get wrapped up in am I doing this right? Is this following the right structure? Is this the right way to punctuate this? Is this how you do dialogue? Don't worry about any of that stuff, like the dialogue tags or am I following the 3-act structure properly? All of that stuff you can fix later. the essence of your story and your own voice as a writer will come through best if you just kind of like, I call it the vomit draft. I know it's gross, but like you just vomit those words out, get the story out, and you can go back and clean it up and fix it later and make sure it's doing the things it needs to do. But you need to give yourself the freedom and the permission to just write the book. So that's my biggest recommendation. And that's really, again, how I got started too, is this idea. I think in some ways it's a great position to be in, like to not know all the stuff, because that's when I feel like you're most free. Like once you start, once like all of the rules of publishing and all of the like, things that readers say in their reviews and like all those things will start kind of playing around in your head, and takes away from the actual like act of writing. So just to be able to be free to write that's the best gift. So just do it. There's no wrong way to write a story. Like just write it. You can fix, you can come back to it later to fix it, but you can't. That's that old saying, like you can't fix a blank page. You can't edit a blank page or whatever. So. Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of new writers struggle with is writer's block. How do you deal with writer's block?
So the great Nora Roberts likes to say that there is no such thing as writer's block. And I'm like, well, maybe not for you, Nora.
Right.
But for us normal people, I feel like a lot of writer's block can come from fear, not just fear of failure or fear of not being able to finish it or not knowing what to do. I think there's just this fear of like, will this actually, like, is this actually worth doing? So I feel like that's a lot of times the block comes from not the story itself, but from your own internal issues that are not related to the writing, but more to the act of getting a book done. So when facing writer's block, you can do one thing, which I often do, which is I don't recommend, which is jumping to a different story, which is actually okay. Sometimes it's like if you have that file of ideas, and you're stuck in one story, then yeah, maybe once in a while it's okay to hop to a different story and play in that world for a little bit if that gets you back on track, as long as you then eventually go back to the story you're supposed to be finishing. Something else they always talk about if you're, in writer's, when you have writer's block, to just like blow up the story, just like have something completely bananas happen, just to see what happens next. One piece of advice I was given, like serious advice, not like real advice that works, is like if you're on a regular writing schedule, that to finish in the middle of a scene, for like when you're coming to the end of your writing day, finish in the middle of a scene, because when you come back the next day, you're already coming in hot and you don't have to like kind of start from scratch the next day. So you already have like a place to start and continue. So that is really good advice, and it does work. You just have to do it. It's hard to get into that habit because it just feels so natural to finish something and start fresh the next day. But it is actually easier if you allow yourself to come into something the next day, like in the middle. So
I started doing this like during Novel Quest, and what I found is but I think of it like sometimes I've been given the advice like move the beginning of the next chapter into the end of the previous chapter, so it kind of creates that cliffhanger. So I thought about that writing, right? So like I get to like the end of the scenes that I had planned to write, because I think in scenes, like just scene after scene after scene is typically like it's all I think about all day long. Okay, so what's the next scene that I'm going to start? And I write like a couple of paragraphs in that next scene, and that way it's like pre-primed for the next day. But
that's exactly
you said you don't. Yeah, but you said you don't write linearly, and I do. I mean, at least story-wise, like, you know, like the scenes don't always stay in the same order in the editing process, but when I'm writing them, I write in like that certain order, and I write, like I start at the beginning and then I write and I write and I write and I write and I write. So I don't know, but it is a great piece of advice. It does really work. I think when you're doing 50,000 words in a month, I think it's so easy to like, because you said emotional issues. I think part of it is burnout too. Like if you're writing at a really furious pace, you know, the brain just gets burned out. And so like having like that middle of the scene, that's fantastic. Anyway, all right, are we ready to play the game? Did I make it back in time for the game? Tell me I made it back in time for the game. I love the game.
You did. You did. We are just finishing up, and so I'm really happy to introduce one of my favorite games. When I was a little girl, my mom used to give me random words, and I would have to create a poem from them. It's called the Found Poem. I now do this exercise with my writing group, and it's challenging and fun. How does it work, Ansley?
Okay. So we have randomly, or in this case, Melonie has randomly picked 6 words, and everyone must try to include as many of these words into a scene as you can. Then afterwards, we will share how many words we got, and if we have time, share our writing with everyone. But while we are writing, Coral's and my writing will be on the screen so you can see our process as we write.
And everyone can join us for this game. So if you're in the chat, please join us. And let's see how many words we can get. You'll have 5 minutes for this game. Is everyone ready?
Oh boy.
Okay, let's begin. Let's do it. That ding means it is time for a break. How did everybody do? Did you get all of the words in the scene?
I did, but I thought I wasn't going to get banana in there. Banana is surprisingly hard to get in. Well, especially in a PG way when you have a romance writer in the room, right?
Oh my goodness.
The temptation is mighty, but we did manage. I did manage.
Yeah, I had trouble with banana as well, but at a different reason, because I'm in like a post-apocalyptic place. How do you get in banana other than thinking about where is it going to fit?
Where is it going to fit? They're excellent sources of potassium, but it's one of these words. It's a funny word. Like like the spelling of it is very funny, and it has like all of those syllables, and it's just a fun word to say. It's just, and they're yummy to eat. So like banana.
Yeah, I guess in a post-apocalyptic world, it could be like the memory of a banana, like the memory of what a banana tasted like, or something. And or there's no that color doesn't exist in the universe anymore, or who knows? Yeah,
or maybe
I could have gone with banana color, something. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Or your characters are just running low on potassium and they needed a banana and it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, all kinds of fun ways. But okay, I got about 163 words. How many did you get, Coral?
Let me take a gander.
It's going to be one of those nights.
All right, I got a 129.
Nice.
Go, Coral. Go, Coral. Yeah, that's good work. Okay. All right. That makes it time for our first prompt. So, all right. It's time for everyone to get out of their heads and turn off that inner editor or that self-critic. And let's start with something one. So there's going to be a big misunderstanding coming up. So as Coral and I were talking about on Sunday, we're trying that mushy middle where many, many people have problems. We are trying to figure out ways to give you prompts, to give you options if you don't know exactly what to do, because we're getting there. And once you get to that climax, it's like downhill, but like the getting there sometimes in the middle, if you're not like quite to that final buildup, you don't know what to do. So a misunderstanding. My next scene, I don't know which. Oh, gosh, my next scene is so juicy. I don't know what to do for misunderstanding. So this will have to be like an extraneous scene. Something we'll have to do there because there's no misunderstanding in the next scene. But that's okay. The next one it's juicy. What about you, Cole? What could they misunderstand in your world? Do you know?
There's a lot of things that could be misunderstood in this next scene. I think that my character is often misunderstood because of the fact that she is mute and unable to talk. And so she often isn't able to express her needs, and she tries to do sign, but she doesn't know very much sign. So it can be a little bit rough trying to communicate. So I have plenty of misunderstandings I can definitely write on.
So that's so much fun. So I can't write my next. Well, I mean, I could write my next scene. That's not a big deal. But so we're at a point where there's gonna be a fight, like Pink and the song. So what? Like that is the theme music to my next scene. Inside my head, that's what I'm thinking of. We're all gonna get in a fight.
Write the idea down so you can do a playlist to go with your book. I
do. I should. Maybe we'll do that for the TGI party. So like, yeah, because like there are certain songs that I have been listening to this entire time. Like there's a Måneskin song that inspired the title. There's Fucks, which is like my new favorite band. There's Pink. There's a couple of Pink songs in here. I should do the playlist. TJO, show up for TJO. I promise to debut the playlist. There we go.
There you go. All right. And so with that, let's start our first prompt. 10 minutes for you to write. There is a big misunderstanding. Let's go. All right, that ding means that it's time for a break. Let me know, how did you do in chat? Please put in your word count so we can see how you guys did. And Ansley,
I'm
how
so
many words
excited.
did you get?
Today I got 367. This is not a scene. I pantsed the scene. Melonie will be so proud of me. I pantsed the scene. It's totally not in there. But yeah, I hate this. This is my favorite character to hate on. We've hated her throughout this whole entire series. So and she's in trouble. She's gossiping to all the wrong people. So yeah. But yeah, she's at the police headquarters because she was tailing the person she wasn't supposed to be tailing, and she has to ask her boyfriend to come pick her up at the police headquarters, and he thinks she was under arrest. So all kinds of fun stuff. So he's all worried about her, and she's out chasing another guy. Fun times. What about you, Coral?
I got, let's see, 247 words. So I'm very happy with that. Were you writing along with us, Melonie? How many words did you get?
I'm editing.
Nice.
I'm editing something, so yeah. I'm not sprinting. I guess I'm cheating.
You are not cheating. There's no such thing as cheating. We're just going to make up a random. We took out 150 words. Everybody, that's what we're going to say. We don't. We just make up a random word count when we're deleting words. Like we don't even. Oh my gosh! Does it hurt when you edit? Does it hurt when you have to cut stuff out? Because like it hurts me.
No, and it just depends. Yeah, there's sometimes where there's something where you're like, like. They talk about, your darlings or whatever. There was definitely in one of my books, it was a joke I took too far. It really, the two characters kept making different. It was basically the same joke 3 times over, and my editor was like, "We don't need any of this," and I'm like, "But it's funny." No, it needs to go, and it needs to go.
It's what an editor is there for, is to tell us that our fevered manic dream is just not going to work in this story. That is definitely an editor. Okay.
We have some counts in the chat. We got 286 words from JPB. A great job.
Good job.
I love it when they write along with us. That's been so exciting this month, is to have people show up and put it in the chat and play along with us. That's so much fun. I really love it. Great work, guys. Great. So much fun. Okay. What's our
All right, so we should probably talk about our next prompt. Yeah. Looks like our next prompt is your main character loses something valuable. And that could be taken so many different ways.
I think I wrote that scene on Monday. I think that's the famous 1,000 words. I wouldn't call it valuable, but yeah, that was fun. Okay, so we can't do that one again. I have to make up a completely different scene. What is it we're gonna lose? Jewelry.
That's what I gotta figure out. What are we gonna lose? I'm in a post-apocalyptic world. What are we going to lose other than our marbles?
Or a weapon? I think in your situation, it would have to be a weapon.
Maybe.
I don't know. Something complicated. Something complicated for sure. I don't know. Is there magic in this world? I know it's post-apocalyptic, but is there magic?
Kind of, but not really. So there is magic in the sense that they're shifters, and so it's paranormal fiction, and there are shifters and stuff like that. And there's a goddess that bestows gifts on certain shifters, but the goddess herself is really the only one who does said magic. It's not really anything. They don't really use magic themselves.
I don't know. We'll just have to make it up. 5 seconds. We have 5 seconds to think of an idea, and then we have to figure it out.
I know.
That's what I love about this.
All right, let's figure this out. Okay, well, that means it is time for a break. And everybody, please put your word counts in the chat. Let us know how you did.
How'd you do, Coral?
I got 250 words, so I'm very happy with that. And I decided that my main character lost a photograph of her family. And so it's one of her last things that she had of her family. And so it's definitely heartbreaking.
Yeah. That is a delightfully evil thing to do to your main character. Allison, I decided at the very last second, Allison has misplaced her wedding ring. Her husband is about to be acquitted. He's about to be acquitted on all charges. She showed up to be the dutiful little wife, and she's left her wedding ring somewhere she doesn't remember where.
Oh no, that's not good. The drama. Here's the wildest thing about this.
I haven't decided if they're getting a divorce yet or not. So, yeah. So we're going to find out. I don't even know who dies at the end of this book. Somebody is going to die, but I don't know who it is yet.
That is some serious pantsing, yes.
There's a shootout at the very end. Like, that's the climax. There's a huge shootout, and somebody is going to die, but I haven't decided who it is yet. And I have I have 9 days to decide. I have 9 days to decide.
Before the end of the
How did you do, Melonie?
Good. There was a spot where I was trying to figure out, like, there was a sentence I was stuck on, and I was able to get the right comeback from the girl to the guy. Yeah. I think I'm probably gonna sneak out. Is that okay?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. It was really fun chat. This is a great idea. I love the sprinting idea, and thank you for having me on. It was great. Good luck to everyone who's working tonight and working the last. We are past 2/3 into November. It is so depressing. It's going so fast. But yeah, this is great. Well, I enjoyed my time.
I did include a link. I did include a link to Melonie's website in the description. If you all want to check out her work, please do. Please support her. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, there's if you go to my website, there is a link somewhere in there where you can sign up to be eligible for an advanced reader copy of the first MILFs book when it comes out. So there you go. But thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. So I'm gonna
thank you for coming. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. It's so much fun.
And we have just a few minutes left. Yep. Let's discuss our third prompt. What are we doing for prompt 3?
The path forward is shrouded in mist. So I think nothing could be better because, spoiler alert, I do know what's happening next. Yeah, the fight is about to go down. We have started picking this fight, and this fight is going down, and people are going to get arrested again. Maybe again. Yeah, again. Definitely at least one character is getting arrested again.
All right.
You know what's going to happen after that, right?
Yeah, well, I don't, but we're definitely going to find out once we read the book.
in 2 years, right? When I finally get this thing edited.
Right.
What do you have any idea where yours is? Like, is the mist going to be metaphorical? Because like mine is metaphorical. Is it metaphorical or more real for you?
I think it'll probably be metaphorical as well, because honestly, I have no idea what I'm going to do. We'll have to. I have 20 seconds to figure out what to write.
Your path is added in this for the next few seconds, and then we're just going to plant that right on along. So, yeah. All right.
But you know what? Maybe there's a little bit of a misty morning. Maybe there's, some heavy fog and it's a little misty out. I could go with that too. So maybe we will do that. All right. Let's do it. All right, that date means it is time for a break. I want everyone to let me know in the chat, how many words did you get? How'd you do?
I got 343 and I finished the scene with like maybe a minute to go. So.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah.
So, got our character arrested. That's so much fun. I really have to work with these poor people this entire novel. What about you? How did you do?
I got 257 words, and I am. I decided that it was going to be an actual fog hanging low in. And I kind of rewrote a scene that I had been working on, and I've been kind of rewriting and kind of chewing on it, trying to improve it and figuring out where I wanted it to go. So all good. We're making
Yeah. I'm interested now. Like, I'm fascinated because I heard a professional, a bestseller, say that he felt like a lot of writers don't take enough risk in the setting. So I'm wondering how, like, to changing that setting, how do you feel about it?
I think it matched her mood, and so it was the perfect opportunity because I just had her lose the photograph, and so she's, of course, more depressed, and so to have this misty fog be what is the first thing she sees in the morning when they go to embark on their journey to the skyscraper, and it kind of like is a nice little exclamation mark on her day. So
that does sound interesting. I mean, I think maybe this very famous writer was right. Like, maybe I'm not taking enough risks there. Maybe I need to think about that. It's interesting. It is interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, mine is metaphorical because, like I said, we got our character arrested. So, like, gotta go bail him out of jail now. Gotta go figure out what the next thing is to do. So, all kinds of
fair enough.
stuff,
Maybe the next prompt will help you decide what's going to happen next.
I know. Okay, this one is so much fun. It's a taste of chocolate on their lips because chocolate is what Ansley craves the most at the end of a writing session, typically. So we're getting there. If you're stuck with it this far, you definitely deserve chocolate. If you're a chocolate eater, I would say.
For sure.
All right. Oh, we have to remember to hydrate.
Just grabbing my water.
I have lemonade, but sometimes. All right.
So now I have to figure out how this is going to work because, again, I'm in a post-apocalyptic world. Why would there be chocolate on anyone's lips? Yeah. So, small issue.
Small issue. You're a creative person. I'm sure you can figure it out. Small, tiny issues? Small. I don't know. Well, like, listen, we're getting ready to go to a jail where there isn't chocolate per se. So, like, we're going to go bail somebody out of jail. So, like, why are they eating chocolate when they're trying to, like, get their person out? I mean, like, that seems very strange. Like, I think I'll duck in for, like a Nestle or Hershey or something,
Snickers, why wait?
I know, right? Well, you're not you when you're hungry, right? Maybe that's why you got arrested, is because you hadn't had the Snickers,
there
right? Right? Yeah, there we go.
That's right. That's great.
Okay, 30 seconds left. Stretch out that neck. Maybe you need to stretch out your fingers a little bit because, like, sometimes when I'm writing, my fingers do get a little bit crampy. So, yeah.
All right. Got this.
Stuff.
All right.
Right. And we gather our thoughts together, and we'll see you in 10.
All right. Let's do this. All right, that ding means it's time to put our words into the chat. How many words did you do? Let me know. I want to know. Ansley wants to know.
We want to know. I know. Like, I'm so excited. I love it when people write along with us. How did you do?
I did 300.
Oh, picking up steam.
Yes.
Chocolate must just be inspirational because I got just over 400. I got 401.
Nice.
And,
nice job.
And I decided a great reason for chocolate is because Joe got acquitted on all charges. So, like, of course, he's going to bring a chocolate bar to his kid. That's a good scene to write.
Oh, yeah, that works. I had my main character have an unexpected shift, and with that comes a, cross wires of brain, and they were like, I taste chocolate on my lips. It's weird.
I mean, I don't see that covered enough in Shifter. I don't think is like they shift and then like they're confused, but like not all of those senses. Like the taste, I don't think I've seen taste before. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I haven't read that either. I was just like, oh, it just kind of came to me. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, because like I've seen the confusion, I've seen the hearing things or the visual changes or like the touch, but I haven't seen a taste yet. I'm not sure if I've seen a smell, but I won't swear to that. But I seriously don't remember a taste ever, which is interesting. It's great.
Yes.
It's great. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excited so about it. But yeah, still continuing on with my, I keep changing my mind of whether or not I want her shifted when she goes into this building. And I feel like it could go either way. And so for me, I've been kind of like, I wrote it one way where she was unshifted and she went as a human, and all of the things that she's able to do would like show emotions and things like that, because this is a really bad idea for her to go into this building. However, I think that by not showing all of that emotion, but yet you'll be able to like, hear her thoughts and stuff like that. I think that would be an interesting juxtaposition, because she's gonna, be going through some things and she's not able to express herself because she's now this beast. And so it should be interesting.
So, is there something special about the building, like that she can't shift inside, or is it more like she just doesn't have control?
So her shifting, she doesn't have any control over. Unlike the other shifters, they have control over their shifting. They can do it. They were born shifters. But she is blessed by the goddess. And
right.
She has this gift of shifting into one of these creatures, and it is not something that she can control, and it just happens. Every 2 weeks or so, she shifts from person to creature. And so throughout this second part of the book, I have to like go back and forth between human and creature, and her struggling with both aspects of herself.
That's interesting. I would guess that there are probably going to be some scenes that you will have to write both ways, and then in the final edit, like which one are you going to take because it fits the drama better. Oh.
Exactly. What? So that's kind of why I have like 2 copies of every chapter.
Yeah, it's an interesting problem to have. It'll be a choose your own adventure novel, right?
Right. I could write it both ways and just be like, publish it both ways. One book is this way, one book is this one. And then have the people figure out like, and then they start having arguments on the internet over what actually happened at the end of the book.
All right. 10 minutes. Now is the time for your character to experience their lowest moment. We'll see you soon.
get those last words in, and let's go ahead and get the word counts. Everybody, we're on a break now.
How'd you do?
I did. Apparently, my page is having a problem. I did good. Let me to re-log in. Apparently, gotta love all the technical things.
Just today has
all right.
been so
well, today has been
just so jinxed. My internet won't stay up. You can't stay logged in. Yeah, fun times. That's how we're live. That's how you know we're genuine. That's how you know we're live.
That's right. All right, we got 328 words.
Oh, you're so close to my word count because I got like 350. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
We love all the words.
Also, another scene that I hadn't planned on writing, but that happens so frequently. I will figure out how to do this. Where it goes in. So, to put it back into the app.
So one of my character's lowest moments is definitely going into this skyscraper and getting the, basically she wants to know whether or not her mom is still alive. And so it goes into the office that her mom was last seen in, and she's looking for answers. And she's not going to get the answer she wants. And so it's not like she has an obvious answer there. It's kind of left open. So she doesn't know, she still doesn't know, and she still won't know. And it's something that is going to drive her insane if she lets it.
She should not let it, but I get the drive. I totally get the drive. Okay. Well, Allison is all alone. Like this is her biggest fear, right? Is that no matter what she does, she's going to be all alone. And part of that comes from she's an only child, and so she's afraid that she didn't learn how to make bonds properly. Of course, her first husband was a total rogue, and so when he died, he found out all kinds of bad things about, like, that her first marriage was a lie. Her second marriage, her husband has been arrested. He just got acquitted. Now we're back with, like, someone else in her life, and, like, that guy's been arrested. So, like, she's definitely like, gosh, what is it with me, and why can't I choose a good person? So, like, yeah, it's definitely moments of self-reflection, and what did she do to, like, make all of these bad choices? But of course they haven't all been bad choices. She made good choices. I mean, that is the essence of life, is that you make a choice, and you don't really know how it's going to turn out. You just do the best you can with what you have, I think. And I think that's part of what I'm discussing in this series, is like, life comes at you, you make a choice, and then the consequences happen, and you figure out how to deal with it. That's everything in life ever, I think.
And what a great segue into our next prompt, which is, how does your character pick up the pieces? How will your character pick up the pieces? I'm interested. So what do you think? What's going to happen? Is she going to fall apart? Is she going to get her act together? What is she going to do?
Well, she's been in the process of getting her act together for the last year, over the course of the year, and she's been exploring, new and different things. I don't know who dies. Somebody has to die at the end of this book, because she's got the high school boyfriend who's come back to basically support her through her husband, and everybody thinks he's going to get convicted. And now the husband's been acquitted. She's got to make a decision, and somebody's got to die. Like, we can't leave both of them alive and her, like, bouncing between them. Well, I'm not going to leave both of them alive and her bouncing between them. Or I might leave them both alive, but somebody's going to be in jail. I just don't know who it is yet. I just don't know. I haven't decided which one is better for her overall.
Well, you have 5 seconds to figure out what is going to happen next. How will your character pick up the pieces? You have 10 minutes, and let's dive into this. All right, and that ding means our time is up. Go ahead and give your final counts. Let's go ahead and see how did we do. So my word count, I had 298 words. How did you do, Ansley?
418. It's not a competition.
It's not, but I'm so proud.
The next time we do this, you'll have the book that writes itself, and I'll be like, words, what are they? Where did you go?
What are they? Yeah, absolutely. Well, since our time is up, I just wanted to congratulate everyone for finishing a 1-hour writing and editing marathon. Great job.
We're so happy Melonie could hang out with us today, even though she left early.
Yes, and please check out others.
And all the things in the thing below. Links in the description. Yes. But yes, that MILF thing sounds fun. Go become an advanced review. Get your advanced review copy. Sign up for that. All right. What do we have to do before we go, Coral?
Before we go, we must thank our amazing producer with David McGinnis. Without him, we couldn't do any of this. He created all the graphics, animation, music, produced this event, and yes, he's amazing. Don't forget to do all the things to help the algorithm. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow. Every little bit helps. Find us on all the social medias. Subscribe to our Substack to get reminders sent to your mailbox.
Our next show is November the 24th with author The Nikki Green. We hope to see you there.
Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
The awkward wave.
No. It's like, how long can Ansley and Coral sit here and giggle at each other for no reason?
Right. Right. This is the blooper time.
Where we learn how to do things like say, hey, that Questy, that Google tracker is in the link is in the description, which I've only gotten right once this entire month.
All right, what's going on?
Oh my gosh, did we lose David?
Well, we are no longer streaming. I did a